What is up, dudes? My name is Amudude, and welcome back to what the kids like to call the depression route, or the bad ending, or Genghis Khan, or whatever. Something or another. It's definitely something. If I go to load game, I can actually find out. It's called Gehenna's Stigma. That's what it's called. Fubuki was at, if you don't know what happened last episode, we went shopping with Mayori, and we talked to Furis a little bit, and we also figured out that Fubuki is back in the hospital, which isn't too good. It's been since 6 months, so apparently she was out of the hospital, but now she's back in, and we don't know what's going on, because as far as we know, she isn't sick. So Fubuki was at a different location than before. This time it was at the AH Tokyo General Hospital High-Tech Medical Center in Yoyogi. There we go. I was like under some other place. It was supposedly one of the Japan's most advanced hospitals. According to what I read on the internet, patients with the new encephalitis that everyone was talking about were being gathered here for special treatment. But I'd also read lots of really bad urban legends about the place, and I was a bit worried about what kind of horror show I'd find here. But of course, when we arrived, it was nothing like that. It was very clean and decorated like a luxury hotel. Whoa! Hello! Kaede and Yuki waved to us as we entered the lobby. Yuki had gotten a message from Kaede as well and had evidently come right over. Yuki gave Mayori a soft hug and a smile. Kaede bowed her head apologetically. What do you mean? How's Nakase doing? Well, that's good. Then they've just brought her here for more examinations or something? There's nothing to examine. There's nothing they can do. Mayuri looked extremely relieved as Yuki continued to hug her. If I remembered right, the last time they examined her, they said it was possible she had the disease, but as long as it didn't get any worse, it wouldn't affect her daily life. They just told her to come back for regular checkups. The new encephalitis had arrived in Japan over 6 months ago, but the number of patients was still increasing. I'm saying that right, it's encephalitis, right? Fortunately, there hadn't been a single casualty yet. Of course, because it isn't a disease. Pretty sure that's no illness, though. I was certain that what they were calling encephalitis was actually something similar to reading Steiner. One time when I went to visit Fubuki in the hospital, I had secretly investigated the other patients. And that's why I called it Reading Steiner, because Okabe has been calling it Reading Steiner, just in case you were wondering. He's seeming to be called it that, so I'm just going off what he's saying. I wasn't able to get any proof, but I found out most of the patients in her wing had, to varying degrees, memories of the same world line. Many people had memories of Japan at war. Fubuki-chan ni aeru kana? それがね、今 MRI で脳の検査をしている最中なんですって。だから病室にいないの。そうなんだ。でももう少しで終わるみたいよ。ここで待っていてって吹雪ちゃんのお母さんが。Kaede motioned to Mayori, indicating she should sit down at a nearby sofa. 検査が終わったら声をかけてくれるみたい。I let the girls sit down on the sofa and stood next to them while I surveyed the lobby. すごい病院ですよね。Yeah. Is Nakase's family really rich or something? If she's staying in a place like this? いえ、そうじゃなくってですね。They're forcing her to come here, aren't they? They paid the way. 吹雪ちゃんのお母さんの話だと、日本とアメリカの政府がお金を出して
新しい治療のプロジェクトを始めるみたいなんです。この病院とアメリカの専門病院や研究所が中心になってやるんだそうですよ。
I see. I wasn't sure how I felt about that. If I was right about what this disease really was, it was hard to imagine a bigger waste of money.
お願いします。患者は全員個室にしてください。それも患者同士が接触しないよう、なるべく離れた部屋で。
This bastard.
しかしね、そんな都合よく病床は空いていませんから。
それでもやってくれないとダメです。患者同士が会話をすることで、夢の情報を共有してしまうでしょ
う。Oh!
いや、それはそうですが。
They're not gonna share the drink. They're gonna talk to each other about it and realize that they're all going through the same thing and realize that it's not some disease, but...
脳というのはね、他人が見た夢なのに、それに共感を覚えてしまうと、あたかも自分が見た夢のように錯覚してしまう。
Punch him!
そういう可能性だってあるのです。
Ooh! Where's Mahal? Where's Mahal? Leskin, you bastard. Oh, you bastard. Ooh! Okay. Right now, we're obviously... I don't know. That doesn't sound exactly bad, per se. But Okabe knows it isn't true. So he's going to be like, Leskin, you're wrong. Shut up, right? He's going to do... I don't know. I feel like he would do something about it, but... Across the lobby, I saw an old Japanese doctor in a white coat and a big man in a suit who was frantically trying to talk to him. Oh! I'd seen that man in the suit before. Actually, it was a man I knew well. Professor Leskinen! God, you don't deserve to be called professor. You don't deserve to be called anything. Trash. I heard over. Dr. Leskinen, it's me, Okabe. He must have been wearing his translator, because he was commuting with the old doctor in Japanese. See? Oh, I was like, blah, 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 and they were like, let's bring it up. They were like, let's talk about it again, just in case they were going like, what's up with that? So, they brought it up again. Cool. The game heard me. Don't use this music. Don't use this light music like, oh, Leskinen's a cool guy. He's not. He's not. Dr. Leskinen's face quickly broke into a smile when he saw me.
Oh, Rintaro!
Punch him! His voice was so loud that everyone in the lobby, doctors, nurses, staff, and even the patients turned to look at me. But Dr. Leskinen didn't seem to notice them as he ran over. He was like a giant American football player racing for a touchdown. Wait! Professor, stop! My cries went unheard as Dr. Leskinen tackled me and then pulled me up. Then he switched from football player to pro wrestler, and he swung me up and down. Felt like I was a little child. There was nothing I could do to resist him as he flung me around. A moment later, he noticed the cold stares of the people around us and finally released me. Oh. Wait, he's back in Japan, so that means Maho is here too, but... Right? Because he said he was bringing her... Oh no. Hopefully she's not in any danger.
いやはや、すまない。あまりに驚いて、はしゃぎすぎてしまった。
Leskin, why'd you have to be a bad guy? Why'd you have to be a bad guy? Dr. Leskinen bowed to the people around him in apology.
レスキネン先生、この青年とはどういったお知り合いかな?
The doctor that Professor Leskinen had been talking to was staring at me suspiciously. Oh, well, I wasn't sure exactly what to tell him. It wasn't like he was really my professor.
見たところまだ学生のようだが、どこの大学かね? 教授と同じ脳科学専攻だとすると...
No, I'm...
彼は9月からビクトゥコンドリア大学の学生ですよ。いずれ私の研究室に来てもらうつもりでいます。
Huh?
おほう、ビクトル・コンドリア大学かね。これは驚いた。
He's just using you, Okabe. He's just using you. Don't listen to him. I looked over at Dr. Leskinen questioningly, but he just gave me a mischievous smile. We gotta call up Maho right now. Maho! Maho, are you okay? I don't like this. This guy. He really was such a kid.
日本人であそこへ行ける学生なんてめったにいない。大したものだ。
Yeah, you should be. Can we call Amadeus? No, of course not. Thanks. Ugh. After the doctor left, I sighed loudly enough for Professor Lessing to hear me. So, who was that guy?
この病院の院長だよ。
The director? You just told a lie to someone that important?
おや、私は嘘なんてついたかな?
Yeah, that they'd be sharing their dreams and stuff like that, but of course Okabe's not talking about that.
確かに9月から我が校の学生とは言ったが、何も今年の9月からとは言ってないよ。それとも何かい？君は結局我が校に来る自信がないのかな？だったら少し残念だが。
Shut up. Shut up. Really was like a little kid. Completely shameless. But still, it was hard to hate him. No, it's... Ooh, that flipped around real quick when I realized who he was. I'm surprised, though. I had no idea you were in Japan. It had been 5 months since I'd seen him off at Narita.
魔法も一緒に来ているよ。
Yeah, is she safe? Really? She didn't say a word about it. I talked to her often via email and video chat, mostly about Amadeus' testing, but I hadn't said a word about coming to Japan. I hadn't heard anything about it from Kuris either.
またあの和光市の部署のオフィスだよ。クリスと一緒にいつでも遊びに来るといい。泥棒に入られるから別の場所にしてくれと訴えたんだがね。
Dr. Lesson looked up towards the ceiling and shrugged. It did feel like that place had security issues.
リンタールはどこか具合でも悪いのかい？治療でここに？
Bastard. Oh, no. I'm here to visit a friend.
ああ、そうか。それはよか。いや、その友人にとっては良くないか。申し訳ない。
She's not in any kind of trouble. It's not an illness or anything. She's fine. Oh, no. No world line shift has happened. I mean, not that Okabe knows of, and so if Okabe doesn't know of it, it probably hasn't happened. Or he just isn't telling me about something he knows about. So what are you doing at a Japanese hospital? Dr. Leskin brought his face close to mine and whispered so that the people around us couldn't hear him.
君も知っているだろう。例の新型脳炎の件だよ。
Yeah?
アメリカ政府の依頼で精神生理学研究所が治療法を研究していたんだが、手詰まりは私も調査に加わるよう大学から命じられたという。
What could that? I see. So you're helping with the new encephalitis? Encephalitis? Encephalitis. That's what I said. Encephalitis case. Cases? Now there was a word I didn't expect to hear. I explained that my friend was here because they thought she might have the disease.
もしかしてその友人というのは中瀬克美？
Huh? Oh, yeah. You met her at the Christmas party, didn't you? Oh, okay. I was like, how did he know?
実は私が新型脳炎に興味を持ったのも君と克美が揃って倒れただろう？
He was right, actually. In my case, I'd been sent to that other world line.
克美には何日か前に再会したんだけどね。私にも何度か噛みついてきてよ。どうしてまた入院させられるんだ？私は元気なのにってね。
She is just fine. Let's get in. This is a big waste of money. I see.
もう少し協力的になってくれると嬉しいと、リンタロウからも伝えておいてくれないかい？
Yeah, I couldn't care less whether you're happy or not, Leskin. And actually, I could care. And you know why I could care? Because I want you to be sad. I want you to be really sad. I don't want you to be happy at all. Huh?
実際のところ、キャツミだけでなく、すべての患者に申し訳ないという気持ちはあるんだ。我々も日本の医師団も研究を進めてはいるんだけどね。 どにも解せない検索結果ばかりで困り果てているのさ。
Maybe it's because there's nothing to get. Especially that skin's usually chipper, expression darkened. The man was such a ball of vitality that I hadn't noticed until then, but when his smile disappeared, I could see the wrinkles that had formed on his face from exhaustion. He must have been working hard, like he said.
正直最初はどの医師もこれほど不可解な病気だとは思っていなかったらしいんだけどね。ん？どうしたんだ、リンタロウ？
Nothing. Oh, well...
何か気になることでも？
No. I'm not a medical student, so this is all outside of my expertise. I was just about to tell him about my reading Steiner, but in the end I couldn't. Okay. This is the bad ending, so I guess it's fine if you tell him, but Okabe, do not tell him. If my uninformed opinion was wrong, it could cost the encephalitis patients their lives. I couldn't just tell him when I didn't have any proof. And then his faith drew close to mine again.
ところで、その克美がなかなか興味深いことを言っていたんだよ。
No. Bubuki, you didn't tell him anything about me, did you? Huh?
自分たちは病気じゃない。別の世界の出来事を夢で見る能力があるだけだ。
Told her not to say anything about it. Did she not help it? This was bad. Might start to doubt her sanity. Well, Nakase's got a very vivid imagination, maybe. She loves sci-fi and anime. She probably just said she has the powers to experience parallel worlds because she saw it on some show or something. I remember that I used to say stuff like that. I tried my best to come up with excuses, but Dr. Leskinen still seemed concerned.
だけどね、私も治療プロジェクトに参加して驚いたんだが、確かにこの病の特徴として、多くの患者が夢を共有する不可思議な現象が起こっている。集団幻覚に近いのかとも思って、今調べているんだけどね。でもなんだろう、こんなことは初めてでね。脳科学的には今のところ解が導けない。正直、非科学的という言葉が一番しっくりくるくらいだよ。それこそ平行世界とか前世の記憶とかね。
Yeah, I see.
君も克美からいろいろと話を聞いてくれると助かるよ。医者に言えないことでも友人になら話すだろうしね。
Sure, I'll ask her, I guess.
さて、リンタロウ、それはそれとして確認だ。
What? If you're asking about why I passed out of the party, it's nothing. And if you're asking about Kuris, I don't know anything about a password or laptop or anything. Dr. Leskinen was looking over my shoulder.
クリスマスパーティーの時にも感じたんだけれど、君のガールフレンドたちはキュートなお嬢さんばかりだね。
What? Leskinen, you can't just change the topic so quickly. You're making me not want to hate you, but I still hate you, Leskinen. Huh? Just randomly start talking about them? Don't you dare touch Mayori. No. Off limits. I turned around and saw that Mayori, Kaede, and Yuki had all stood up from the sofa and were looking at me. When they saw Dr. Leskinen was looking over at them, they waved.
やはりあの中に恋人がいたりするのかい？ユキ、カエデ、マユリ、ルカ、それともカツミがそうなのかな？
Well, actually, Lukaku is a guy, but... And no, none of them are. No. What? His words were so surprising I couldn't think of anything to say. Maho would often call this middle-aged man a mischievous boy. And that was exactly the look he had on his face.
いや、別に無理に聞かせてくれとは言わないよ。君のプライベートを詮索する気はないからね。
Yeah?
ただ、まあ、可愛い教え子にちょっとした土産話をと思っただけさ。
Huh? Dr. Leskin turned to walk away before I could figure out what he meant.
それじゃリンタロウ、私はもうちょっと院長と話をしないといけないから、これでできればユキたちにも一人一人ハグしていきたいところだったが、次回にとっておこう。彼女たちによろしく。
I'll be sure to tell him that. Oh, sure. Mayodi and the others came over to me as I watched them go.
今の人レスキネン先生
Yeah, yeah,
で
what?
すよね。どこかで見たことあると思った。アメリカに帰ったんじゃなかったでしたっけ？
He did, but apparently he came back, so.
おかり？
There was no way I could tell the girls what Dr. Liskinen and I were just talking about. Wait. Is Kaede's, like, belly button showing in her outfit, or is that just, like, a part of the clothing? I don't know. After Fubuki's exam was over, we went to a room and listened to her complain, and then the visit was over. Just like Dr. Leskinen had said, she looked just fine. She told us she was ready to leave the hospital and jog all the way home. Mayodi and the others were relieved, but I felt worried. Did I need to talk to Dr. Leskinen about reading Steiner after all? But how would I explain it? Might be a better idea to talk to Moho and have her explain it to him. Couldn't come to an answer right away. Oh, because we just shouldn't tell Leskinen. Oh, we're Suzuha now, huh? It was a very hot day in 1998 when Suzuha said goodbye to Kagari Shina. She'd gone to get food and water from a local store, and when she came back to open the hatch, Kagari was inside, screaming. She looked inside and saw that Kagari was slamming her tiny hands down on the control console.
お前、何をしてるんだ？
Kagari shrank back when she saw Suzuha.
違うの。これは、その。答えろ。なんて。目を覚ましたら、鈴葉お姉ちゃんがいなくて、真っ暗で明かりもつかないし、狭くて怖くて苦しくて。だから、かがり、ドアを開けたくて。それで、あちこちいじってるうちに、こんなことに。
Kagari started to cry.
ごめんなさい、鈴葉お姉ちゃん。ごめんなさい。でも、本当に怖かったんだ。そうか。
Suzuha relaxed her guard. Kagari had PTSD from her time as a war orphan, and she hadn't fully recovered yet. Moidi had once told her that she got very frightened in dark and cramped places. It would make sense if waking up in the dark caused a panic attack. And the time machine could only function with Suzuha's biometric authorization. Someone of Kagari's size wouldn't be able to break the console either.
お前は時間移動のショックで気を失ってたんだよ。だから休ませておいたんだけど、悪かった。
Suzuha grabbed one of Kagari's tiny hands to help her up, and then led her outside the machine.
暑い。かがり、約束するんだ。どんなことがあっても、操縦席のスイッチに触ったりするな。じゃあ、私は仕事にかかるから、お前はその辺で休んでるんだ。飲み物と食べ物は適当に食べていい。
Suzuha handed Kagari the provisions she brought, then went inside and poked her head in the cargo space under the control console. She connected the IBN 5100 she stored there to a portable terminal she'd brought from the future. By all appearances, it was an early 2000 cell phone, but inside it was a miniaturized quantum computer from the year 2036. Of course, future Dario had made it himself. When she booted up the IBM 5100, rows of numbers started to appear on the screen.
何をするの？
Kagadi was looking in from outside the machine.
2000年問題は勉強したか？施設の学校でちょっとだけ。結局何にも起こらなかったんでしょ？表向きはね。公表されてないけど、実は当時あれのせいでいくつかの地域や国に深刻な問題が起きたんだ。そうなの？問題だったのはこの IBN5100 というコンピューターなんだよ。これには古いプログラム言語が搭載されてるんだけど、そのプログラムの問題点を技術者たちが修正できなかった。というより、そんな言語で書かれた重大なプログラムが存在すること自体、全く第三次世界大戦はタイムマシンの開発競争が発端なんだけど、もしかすると2000年問題で発生したある事象とそれに付随する対立こそがもっと深い原因である可能性がある。
She didn't expect a 10-year-old like Kagadi to understand this, but she didn't feel like taking the time to explain.
しかも西暦2000年というのは特殊な年でね、全ての世界線が一旦一つに収束してしまうらしいんだ。
What?
それに関連してこの問題があらゆる世界線の因果に重大な影響を引き起こすかもしれない。私たちが目指してる狭間の世界線、シュタインズゲートも例外じゃない。
She looked down at the terminal connected to the IBM 5100.
だからこれは2000年問題を起こさないようにするための修正プログラムなんだよ。
Right now, the terminal was converting the patch into the language used by the IBM 5100. The new step was to spread this program all around the world in the form of a virus, and the Y2K problems that this era's engineers missed would completely disappear. The word connect appeared on the terminal's subscreen.
OK。つながった。
Wow, who knew Suzuha fixed all our problems for us? She'd been told that in Japan in this era, ADSL was still in the test phase, and most normal users connected to the internet by low-speed dial-up using ISDN. But in major city areas like Akihabara, universities, labs, and some big computer companies were starting to use fiber optic broadband. Some of them were even using wireless LANs. Suzuha cracked her way into one of those. Dad had laughed when he'd said that with 2036 technology, cracking late 20th century network security was a joke. But he'd been right.
でも
I would think
未
so.
来を変えちゃったらカガリたちがいた未来の世界も全然変わっちゃうんじゃないの？
You gotta do what you gotta do, Kagari. Surprisingly, Kagari had gotten the gist of what Suzuha had just told her.
そういうことだ。もうあの世界は存在させない。私たちはシュタインズゲートを目指すためにここへ来たんだから。
It is a good game, that's for sure. Suddenly, the uneasy look on Kagari's face vanished. It was as if her soul had left its body. Suddenly, her face was expressionless, and her eyes were wide.
声。
声?
神様の声。カガリ？ダメだよ。よくないよ。ダメなんだよ、鈴葉お姉ちゃん。そんなことしちゃいけないんだ。
She's gotta, Kagari.
おい。
Kagari was acting strangely. Suspiciously, Suzuha reached her hand out towards her. But she slipped past Suzuha's hand, and quicker than any child should be able to move, she slammed her shoulder straight into Suzuha's body. Okay, you guys gotta remember, this is right after, like, Suzuha has had barely any time between when she left 2036 and now. So she has not, her senses have not been dulled at all. But yet, Kagari can do this? That's pretty insane. Okay. Suzuha was caught completely off guard. That's how fast it was. Kagari's shoulders hit her in the solar plexus. How? She bent over and collapsed onto the seat. Kagari tore the terminal out of Suzuha's hands. The cables connecting it to the IBM 5100 were ripped out, and errors displayed on both screens.
お前何を
Kagari didn't answer the question. Instead, she grabbed the backpack that Suzuha had placed on the seat and spilled its contents onto the floor. There were MREs, spare parts, clothes, and a semi-automatic pistol. Suzuha couldn't believe it. Kagari was going to try and pick it up.
やめろ
She forced herself to ignore the pain as she jumped onto Kagari's body. What the hell, Kagari? But another unbelievably powerful body slam knocked her back. Okay, what? Okay, is Kagari some super engineered genetic, like, freak? What is this? What is happening right now? How can a 10-year-old girl take out super trained Suzuha? How is this happening? Little did you know, Kagari is an android. Something cold was pushed right up against her brow.
動いちゃダメ
Kagari never had any parents. She's a robot all along. Kagari's tiny hands weren't shaking at all as they clutched the semi-automatic pistol. In the space of an instant, the safety on the gun had been flipped off. What the hell? That's when Suzuha realized that this wasn't just a temper tantrum. Suzuha was the one who taught her how to use a gun. That's why she knew that Kagari was perfectly calm.
正気か今すぐ銃を下ろせやめるのはお姉ちゃんの方だよ
You're the one who needs to stop, Kagari. We're trying to save the world here. You brat, don't get in the way.
世界を変えちゃいけないんだお姉ちゃんはおかしいこと言ってる
Kagari, we just went back in time. What do you mean we can't save the world? Can't change the world. We just went back in time. There was no hesitation in her eyes. Instead, Suzuha saw only resolve.
じゃあこのまま戦争が起きてもいいっていうのそんなのわかんないよカガリは元の世界に戻りたいだけだもん
War? Bad, Kagari.
ならもう無理だ
No, we're not gonna skip.
私たちはタイムマシンですでに過去に干渉してる世界線だってずれてしまってるはずだあそこに戻れる可能性は低く
Oh, that's so sad.
うるさいうるさいカガリはママを絶対に助けるんだこの世界を消すなんてダメだよ絶対にやらせないから
Drop the gun, you brat. Kagari turned the gun towards the IBM 5100.
やめろ
You better not. Punch her in the face. Punch her right in the face, though. I don't care. I don't care if she's a child. She's trying to, literally, she is dooming the world. What kind of silenced gun is this? Before Suzuha could stop her, she yanked down on the trigger. Again and again.
やめてくれカガリ
How is she this quick? Suzuha is like a super trained soldier. Who is Kagari? Did I miss something? She's a robot, isn't she? She's like some robot that can grow with time or something. Or some strange, some super robot. Some super robot that the enemy made. Oh snap! How intense would that be? Like the enemy made Kagari to infiltrate our group of friends, and then go back in time and ruin every. What if? And then Kagari jumped out of the time machine, and Suzuha never saw her again. What the hell? On every night that passed, she remembered Kagari. Suzuha had spent some time looking for Kagari when she'd first come to this era, but in the end, she never found anything. But Shina Kagari, who was now 22 years old, was here in Akihabara. Suzuha was sure of it. But it did no good to keep thinking about it. Suzuha decided to stop thinking and look around the room. Oh God! Daru, what? Wow! Daru, her dad, was playing yet another game populated entirely with female characters. His jaw was slack, and he was scratching the belly fat that stuck out from under his shirt as he played. There wasn't much to respect in him right now, either as a father or as a person.
そういえば母さんとはうまくやれてる？
ね？
大丈夫？私が生まれてこなくなるような事態にならないよね？
なんつうの？タイムマシンよりもなんだい？
ちょっと。
Come on, daughter. Suzuha stormed over to Daughter.
困るよ、父さん。
うん。パパ、頑張るからね。
いっつも口ばっかり。結局、例の映画のチケットも無駄にしちゃったんでしょ？
Oh, come on, daughter. She meant the pair of movie tickets that Mayuri and Fadi's had conspired to give them at the Christmas party.
あれはさ、オカリンと吹雪氏が倒れちゃったじゃん。
Yeah.
その後、お見舞いとかでバタバタしてるうちに映画が終わっちゃってたわけで。
でもその後、新しいチケットを用意しようとしたら断ったって聞いたけど。
誰に？
ナユ姉さんとルミ姉さんに決まってるじゃないか。
Come on, daughter.
そりゃあれだ。マヨシとフェイリスタに頼りきりなんて男らしくないっしょ。キリ。
で、自分で何か行動に移したわけ？
Nope.
ダメだこれ。
Poor Suzuha. Maybe this was a more important problem than the time machine. Suzuha brought her hands up to her head.
いい父さん。私、いつまでもこうやってお説教できないんだからね。もうすぐ行っちゃうんだよ。
Suddenly, there was a sad look in Daughter's eyes.
そういう顔しない。約束したはずだよ。もう迷うのはやめにしようって。
For the past 6 months, Suzuha had been thinking about whether it was really right to erase this world. But in the end, it was none other than Daughter who had pushed her to go ahead.
ごめん。
She couldn't bear to see her father so depressed, so she patted his broad back.
しょぼくれてないで、母さんにメールして。予定の空いてる日がないか聞いて。
Like today. Go out with her today, Daughter.
空いてたら映画に誘う。
いきなりハードル高すぎ。
No, Daughter, it's easy.
高すぎでも何でもいいから誘いなさい。いい？これは命令だからね。
命令って。
返事は？
さあ、イエスさ。
Daughter. Satisfied, she headed off to take a shower.
でもその前にちょっとだけコンビニに行ってくる。睨まないで。なるべく太らないようなものを食べますんで、何卒お許しを。
バニラ。
はい。
私、シャワー出たらアイス食べたい。バニラ。
Oh, wow.
わかった。庶民がなかなか口にできない高級なやつをいっぱい買ってきてあげる。
You don't have to buy her a lot. She just said vanilla ice cream.
いっぱいはいらないよ。一つでいい。
さあ、イエス
Daughter. That was enough to cheer Daughter up. He took his wallet and ran out of the lab.
やれやれ。世話がかかるんだから。
Yori does it. She had just about taken off her jacket so she could take the shower. But
鈴葉。
Daughter had come back into the lab.
どうかした？
階段のところにさ、こんなの落ちてたんだよね。
Wait, what does Daughter usually wear? Can't remember. It's green, isn't it? But is it like a shirt, or does he wear... Is it like a button-up shirt, or... Oh. Mayori's keychain. Daughter showed her a keychain she was holding. What? He showed her a keychain she was holding? Daughter, that's impressive. Wow. She didn't really think about it? She just had it in her hands? That was weird. It was a round anime character, whose color had faded to a smoky green. It was... Enupa.
誰のかわかる？
It's Mayori's. I got it for her.
まゆ姉さんじゃないの？
Yeah. Or is this the old one? She leaned forward to take a closer look, and then felt like she was experiencing deja vu.
このウーパー、どこかで。
Yeah, because Mayori has it. She'd seen it before. She couldn't really remember when, but her internal alarms were going off. This keychain was extremely important. Wasn't it at the party? Oopas were common enough that you could find them anywhere. Plastic edges had worn down, the paint was faded and coming off in places. There was no dust and there were no stains. Instead, it shone brightly, as if its owner had put a lot of effort into taking good care of it. The chain was so old that part of it had snapped off. That was probably how it got dropped.
どこだっただろう。どこかで見た。
マユシに見せてもらったとか？
そうなのかな。
She stared at the green Upa in Daru's hands. And then, in her mind, she heard a young girl scream.
ママがずっと大切にしてきたウーパのキーホルダーだよ。かがりちゃんにあげる。大事にしてね。
She gasped. A feeling of indescribable terror raced down her spine.
まさかかがりのか。
That was when she'd last seen it. August 13th, 2036. The day she'd gone into the time machine. That's when she'd seen this Upa. It was older and more worn now, but the more she remembered that day, the more certain she became. This was the Upa that Mayori had given to Kagari. She'd seen Kagari holding it and crying to herself many times before.
かがりってもしかして未来のマユシの娘？
うん。
見つかったん？
いや、でも向こうはこっちを認識しているんだ。
つまりどういうことだってばよ。
あいつこのラボを監視してるんだよ。
Ooh, that's creepy. Satisfied, she headed off to take a shower. Ever since then, her careful efforts to defend the time machine had paid off, and she hadn't seen any sign of Kagari, but she never thought she'd be watching the lab.
いや、ちょっと考えれば当たり前のことだったんだ。あいつは私たちがシュタインズゲートに到達するのを阻止し、この世界をなかったことにしたくないと思ってる。ということは私だけじゃなく父さんもマークされてる。
え？僕？
That's kind of creepy.
まあ父さんの命に危険はないとは思うんだ。世界線の摂理を信じるなら父さんは少なくとも2036年までは生きるはずだし、ただシュタインズゲート到達を阻止するために父さんの研究の邪魔はしてくるかもしれない。
A lot of bad things had been happening around Suzuha, Daru, and Okabe Rintaro. There was some possibility that the final target was Daru.
これからは用心のために私がいない時には必ずドアに鍵をかけておいて。
わかったよ。
オカリンおじさんや母さんやマユ姉さんたちが一緒にいても絶対に開けっぱなしはダメだよ。気休めかもしれないけどドアチェーンもかけた方がいい。
でもさ、オカリンやマユシならともかくアマネシと二人きりの時にそんなことしたらなんか別の意味で怪しくね？
それは確かに。
もしそれで嫌われでもしたら我が家のピンチだお。
That's true. Suzuha groaned softly, unsure of what to do.
父さんがもっと早く母さんと恋人になってれば何の問題もないのに。
で、結局そこへ話が戻るとか？
Yeah, because that's a big problem, Daru.
とにかく注意だけはしておいてよね。
Yeah. Alright, Daru, be careful. Suzuha decided to keep the green Upa keychain. She softly ran her fingertips over it as she stared at it.
なあ鈴葉、かがりたんって血はつながってないけどマユシの娘なんだよね。
そうだよ。
She's an android.
あのマユシに育ててもらった子が人を襲うような恐ろしい人間になるのかな。
That's what I'm thinking.
なんか鈴葉の話とイメージが重ならないっつうか、もっと優しくてホワホワしてて可愛い女の子になってるんじゃないかなとか。
だとよかったんだけど。
Yeah, but Mayori only raised her for so long. She's been living without Mayori for 12 years.
私も前はそうなると信じてたけど、今のかがりは多分。
From what she'd seen at the radio building, she could tell Kaguri had definitely received professional combat training. It wasn't just the simple self-defense techniques that she'd learned from Suzuha when she was a child. She'd grown up. She'd been taught the cold techniques of a killer. There was no way to know where she'd been or what she's been doing ever since she'd gone missing in 1998. But there was no doubt in Suzuha's mind that she was trying to ruin her plans. Suzuha sighed as she took her shower. Since it was summer, she'd set the water temperature low. It was barely any hotter than tap water. As long as the water was pouring down on her, she could feel like all the bad memories were being washed away. She slapped her cheeks with both hands and turned off the water. The small, tiled room suddenly became quiet. In the silence, she vigorously toweled off her hair. This building was never intended for anyone to live in. Not only was there very little room, there wasn't even a place to change. It was small, and there were no windows. The steam from the shower room built up, making it an unpleasant sauna in summer. Supposedly, Daru and Okabe would sit naked next to fans to get away from the heat and moisture. Of course, that was only when the girls, as well as Lukaku Urashibara, weren't around. Even though he's a guy. But he's a guy. But Suzuha couldn't do that. There were those huge scars on her chest. If she was careless and Yuki saw them, she'd have a big problem. So, she was always forced herself to change within the small space. Aww. Sad. What is it? The second she left the shower room, she realized something was wrong. The lights were off in the part behind the curtain where the lab room was. She was sure she had left all the lab lights on when she'd gone to take a shower. She didn't remember turning them off. Still, completely naked, she flung open the curtain. I don't mind. Man. She dropped to the floor, ready to move. She could tell by the light from the shower room there was no one else there. She didn't hear any breathing. She didn't feel any other presence.
父さんが一度戻ってきたのか。
Well, did Daru leave before you went into the shower, or what? Why would he come back just to turn the lights off? And then when he left, he turned off the lights? That doesn't make any sense. Knowing Suzuha's there taking a shower? No, that couldn't be right. She looked around the room and saw that things had been moved in a way that an amateur wouldn't be able to notice. Daru's computer desk, the sofa area, the bookshelves, even the mini kitchen. Someone had gone through them all. Why would someone who's not trying to be noticed turn off the lights when they leave? From the look of it, the same was probably true of the development room. Suzuha glanced over all the areas where she kept her guns. The closet, the closest was a sofa that she used as a bed. She wanted to have one easily available if she was attacked while she slept, so she had cut out the back of one of the sofa cushions and hidden a suppressed semi-automatic pistol in it. It was just a .32 caliber for self-defense, so it wouldn't do much damage unless you had good aim, but it was small and relatively quiet, which made it the best choice for a place like this. Suzuha tensed all her muscles, coiling like a spring, and slowly moved towards the sofa without making a sound. Ooh, coiling like a spring. Ooh. As she did, she tried to notice any changes in the surrounding area. See what I mean? She's so trained. How could little 10-year-old Kagari take her down so easily? I just don't understand it. Maybe she was just off guard because Kagari... That wouldn't make any sense that she was just off guard. She could have thought anyone could come at any time. And, like, wouldn't she be more on guard because she knows she has to protect Kagari? There was a small sound in the development room. It was a tiny creaking of the floor, which you'd usually pay no mind. That was more than enough for Suzuha. In an instant, she moved from quiet to action. She cleared the distance to the sofa in an instant and quickly drew her gun. She held it ready and slipped into the shadow of the refrigerator. From the position, she could barely see into the development room. Shit. The room became silent again. But this time, the intruder in the other room didn't try to hide their presence.
おかしな真似をしたら撃つ。手を頭の上に。そのままゆっくり出てこい。
Oh! Suzuha threatened the intruder in a low voice, but the intruder seemed completely unconcerned as they exposed themselves to Suzuha's gaze.
この暑いのによくそんな格好をしていられるな。ヘルメットだけでも取ったらどうだ?
What did that sound like? It sounded familiar. Who was that? The intruder was wearing a motorcycle suit. Just like before, even the helmet was the same. Are we just assuming it's Kagari, or are we assuming it's someone else who we've thought before, but we marked it off the list because there's no way? The leather suit clung tight to their skin, revealing a voluptuous and perfectly proportioned body. It was clearly a woman. Unless they're just...
あんたが探してるものだけどね。そこにはないよ。
Unless they just put balls in their chest. Huge... Big ones. Big... yeah, no. Focus.
私の服のポケットだ。
What were we looking for? Suzuha pointed towards the entrance to the shower room. The shirt she'd just taken off was lying there on the floor. The girl in the motorcycle suit turned her head, but because the face mask was down, Suzuha couldn't read her expression.
なあ、落としたらダメじゃないか。ママからもらった大切なものだろ、かがり。
Whoa! The second she spoke, Shina Kagari was the first to move. This is too intense. She drew a degloss military knife that she must have been hiding behind her back, and closed the gap between herself and Suzuha in an instant. Suzuha pointed the gun at her legs and pulled the trigger, carefully aiming away from her vitals. Oh, took her down. Ooh, she heard the small pop of a suppressed 30. Is it point 32? And saw Kagari lose her balance and fall. Or she thought she did. But it was a feint. Oh no. Oh no! She'd only pretended to lose her balance. In fact, she'd changed directions and was heading for the shower room. It seemed her first goal was to get what she came for.
これは?
Oh, she's just going for the Upa? After firing only one shot, Suzuha realized. Even a 32 should have more recoil than this. She fired again, but Kagari didn't flinch even for a moment.
ブランクカートリッジ。どうして?
At some point, all the bullets in Suzuha's gun had been swapped with blanks. That instant's panic was all it took. No! Kagari reached out for the shirt on the floor in front of the shower room.
この
Goes for a kick. Suzuha gave up on firing and flung the gun at Kagari. Oh no, threw it at her. There was a dull thud as the hard barrel slammed into her neck. Caught off balance, she staggered before she could grab the shirt. Come on, get her, Suzuha. She could hear Kagari's voice for the first time from within the helmet. Suzuha jumped. Come on, get her. Take her down. She kicked the off-balance Kagari as hard as she could with her toned, muscled legs. This was no time to hold back. Damn, you broke the table! Kagari went flying all the way to the edge of the room. That had to have broken a few ribs. Did she break the table? She better not have broken the table. That's a special coffee table. Suzuha jumped towards her to continue her attack. But with terrifying speed, Kagari leapt off the ground and charged at Suzuha. There wasn't enough time to come to a full stop. Oh God. This is getting bad, guys. Sharp blade swept by, mere centimeters from her exposed abdomen. If she pulled back even a few tenths of a second later, the knife would have fatally sliced open her gut. Kagari was going for the kill? She was going for the kill? Oh, wow. The blood rushed to Suzuha's head. Kagari was serious. She was planning to kill her. There was no hesitation in her movements. Man, Kagari does not care. Suzuha leaped back and searched for something she could use as a weapon. But the other gun was probably no different. There was a good chance they'd all had her ammo swapped with blanks too. It was even possible that all her self-defense knives had been taken too. What? What? How could Kagari know all of... I guess she looked really... How long did we take our shower for? Which left... There were several knives carefully stored in the kitchen. Yuki had brought them over to use in teaching the other girls how to cook. But Kagari had evidently noticed them as well, and she was moving to keep Suzuha from reaching.
へえ、ずいぶん離れしてるじゃないか。とてもマシンの中でベソベソ泣いてた子供とは思えないな。驚いたよ。
Man, I like that voice for Suzuha. Suzuha kept her distance from Kagari as she slowly moved along the wall. Her competitive drive burned even brighter as she tried to come up with a way to overcome her disadvantage.
ほら、カガリ、これだろ。
She picked up her shirt from in front of the shower room, took the green keychain out of its pocket.
どうした？取りに来なよ。
Oh, Kagari. I mean, whatever. Fingers moved as if to crush it. She could see Kagari twitch. For the first time, she could detect a hint of emotion beyond the helmet. In an instant, she threw it at Kagari's stomach. The keychain flew in a slow arc like she was tossing it to a friend. If something they loved was thrown like that, even the fiercest warrior would instinctively reach out both hands to grab it. Kagari was no exception. She carefully held her mother's memento in both her empty left hand. In both her empty left hand and the right. Okay, I'm sorry, guys. I apologize very deeply for that one. In the right hand, that still clutched a knife. Wait. Still doesn't make any sense. Oh, okay, so she had the knife in her hand as she was okay. Using the slow arc of the keychain as a camouflage, Suzuha ran at her in a straight line. Ooh. Her right fist connected hard with Kagari's stomach. Then her left arm smashed Kagari's head to the side. Damn! Kagari's body fell to the ground, her right shoulder taking the blunt of the fall. Why are we not allowed to see any of this? Come on, just show us the fight. Suzuha could hear the sound of her joint dislocating. The knife slipped from her grasp. Okay, yeah, wasn't expecting that. Was not expecting that. I knew, I was like, show us the fight. And when it happened, I was like, hey. Suzuha got behind her and mounted her, twisting her right arm mercilessly. Ooh! No, this is serious. We're serious, guys. Serious time. No. Nothing to be... That's pretty good. At the same time, she slipped her own left arm around Kagari's neck and squeezed hard. She could hear something like a moan from Kagari's throat. She could hear something like... Okay, sorry. She could both hear and feel the bones in her arm and neck cracking. Damn, Suzuha, you look bloodthirsty. But Kagari picked up the knife on the floor with her left hand and once again tried to use it on Suzuha. Suzuha was forced to squeeze her arm and neck even harder. That booty though. But Kagari didn't stop. If anything, she tried even harder to pull away. Okay, is that? Also, okay, that is. I thought that was like her knees together, but that is a... Two asses. Sorry, I said that, right? I did say that. I don't know if I said the last line. I was too focused on the ass. Oh, yeah. Darn you, Suzuha. Even in all the battles she'd been in, this much pressure on 2 different spots was enough to get even the toughest soldier to submit or fall unconscious. I'm thinking she's a robot, Suzuha. I'm thinking she's a robot. I don't know if you can trust her. Terrified, Suzuha squeezed even harder. At this rate, she wouldn't simply knock her out. She really would kill Kagari. But if she stopped, Kagari would kill her. What should she do? No. Don't fall for it. Don't fall for it. Suzuha, you've been through training. You can't let this... And then she heard a sad, weak voice from inside the helmet. It startled her. And she relaxed, but no, Suzuha! And she relaxed both her arms. But that was just what Kagari had hoped for. We know! The knife came very close to cutting Suzuha's left arm. When she let go to dodge it, Kagari shook her off and kicked at her hips with both legs. Suzuha was slammed back hard into the computer desk, and for a moment, she couldn't breathe. She fell to the floor, and the printer and monitor crashed mercilessly into her naked... Oh God! Into her naked body. Suzuha, are you okay? Shouldn't have let go. She forced herself to stand up, gasping hard as she did so. Kagari's breathing was heavy too. Her right arm was pointed in an impossible direction and hanging limp. She wouldn't be able to use it for a while, probably. But her left arm was still holding the knife. Suzuha glared at Kagari's face. Not that she could see what it looked like beyond the helmet. The two of them fell silent as they tried to catch their breath. The tension in the air was so thick that it was difficult to move a muscle. Sweat rolled down her forehead and into her eyes. She still didn't blink as she waited for Kagari to make her next move. It was the sound of the front door opening that broke their stalemate.
Oi, Suzuha!
Oh no, Daru! Suzuha felt a chill run down her spine when she heard Daru's voice. Daru, don't go in! Daru, don't go in! Don't go in! Don't go in! Oh God, Daru! She yelled at the same exact instant. He turned on the lights. The sudden brightness was enough to make Suzuha flinch for an instant. Kagari was wearing a full-face helmet, and that made all the difference. She leapt towards Daru just a moment before Suzuha. Oh no, Daru! Give her a right hook right now! You probably would miss, but it doesn't matter, just try. Kagari's black knife went up to his throat. You've got to be kidding me! Kagari spun around behind him, using Daru's huge body as a shield. Suzuha staggered towards him, gritting her teeth. Damn! Suzuha, serious! Oh, I like this. I mean, I don't like that she has to kill Kagari, but I'm liking how serious she is. But Kagari remained silent as she headed outside the door with her hostage. And then in the next moment, she moved him forward. Shoved him forward, really. Daru lost his balance and fell towards Suzuha. Suzuha fell to the ground underneath his weight. Daru just barely managed to support himself with his arms and legs to keep from crushing her. Nope, Suzuha, you can't leave! Suzuha tried to shove him off, using a little more force than she may have intended. But Daru was so huge it would take him a moment to get up. She was getting away. She somehow managed to crawl out from under him and quickly tried to follow after Kagari. Daru was still laying on the ground as he tossed the naked Suzuha her shirt. She grabbed it and quickly put it on, then ran outside. Oh, come on! But when she looked around the street, the girl and the motorcycle others weren't there. There was no way to even know where she'd gone.
逃げられた。
Damn. Fool. Fool. Man, it would be dangerous to run around trying to find her now. There was a chance Daru would be attacked while she wasn't at the lab.
今のってまさかかがりたん？
Daru came outside as well.
うん。多分間違いない。
そっか。
結局、あの子とはこうなっちゃうんだな。
Why is it like this on this world line? Bruises and wounds were bad enough, but the pain that ached in her heart was the worst of all.
私さ、あの子のこと本当に好きだったんだ。
うん。
小さくても勇敢で、まゆ姉さんを守るためにいつも頑張ってて、私もそんなあの子にいろいろなことを教えた。きっと妹みたいに思ってた。
うん。
けどあいつはもう完全に敵だ。
Daru straightened up her shirt sleeves.
今の鈴葉、なんかエロゲーの地上キャラっぽい格好になってるよ。
Come on, Daru.
え？お？
Suzuha was caught completely off guard. True, her t-shirt only came down to just below her hips, roughly the length of a miniskirt. Breasts were almost completely bared. The shirt's hem was turned up and she felt exposed.
まあ僕は地上物も結構いける口なんで、乱れた裸 T シャツというのもありといえばありですが、むふー。
Daru!
またそうやってふざける。大怪我してたかもしれないのに。
I was really hoping he wouldn't do that this instance, but whatever, that is Daru, so what can you do? But Daru shook his head.
僕さ、さっきはナイフ見て騒いじゃったけど、でも怖がる必要なかったんじゃないかなって。あれがもし僕の聞き間違いじゃなかったら。
Daru rubbed the part of his neck where the knife blade was.
ナイフを突きつけられてた時、ほんの少しだけど聞こえたんだよ。
何が？
彼女、多分泣いてた。
Probably crying because Suzuha broke her arm.
え？
Nah, crying. Under that helmet? That whole battle with Suzuha, while holding a knife to Daru's neck? But why?
だからさ、決めつけるのはまだ早いんじゃね？
父さん。
の？
アイス買ってきてくれた？
ああ、もちろん。
食べたいな。私ちょっと疲れちゃった。
I bet. And then she almost fell forward.
で、
Daru managed to catch her before she hit the ground.
おい、鈴葉！
ごめん、平気。でも少しだけ休ませて。
That was all she had the energy to say. She closed her eyes in her dad's arms and her consciousness melted away. Damn. A lot happened. I wouldn't mind seeing Suzuha just in a t-shirt as well, but you know, whatever. You know. Wow. Who would have known? Who would have known Kaguri is some type of robot? I'm going with that. I'm going with that story. I don't know. She is insane. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like if you enjoyed. Subscribe for some more. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!